Hello, this is Mordred Viking, and I would like to welcome you to the 6th Mods Report. As you may have guessed, I am in fact back from my time away, and I am really kind of excited to get going again, to be quite honest. You know, I miss playing these games. So, what have I actually been doing in those 3 weeks? Well, basically I needed a bit of a holiday. And a friend of mine was getting married in Washington DC, so I took the opportunity to go out to New York, spend a few days there, then went to DC for the wedding itself, and then I also managed to roll in a business meeting in Michigan. That's the guys I'm currently doing the sci-fi game Starium with, and that actually happens to include Saxon Dragon as well. So I stayed with him a couple of days and we were talking about Pendor and all the other good stuff like that. No promises about future things, but I must admit we were kind of fantasizing like, well, if we had the team and the money, what would we do? And we came up with some pretty nifty ideas, so it kind of depends on how Starium does. We'll see where we can go from there. Talking of Pendor, this is a good opportunity to talk about current and future plans for what is happening on this channel, as obviously that's what Mods Reports is for. So Pendor is going to continue as it has been. I think we might be getting towards the end of that game. We have snowballed rather spectacularly, and after a certain point it gets a little bit boring, and I have noticed viewer numbers dropping off rather dramatically more recently, so that is definitely something to consider. Not going to happen imminently, but certainly soon. What are we going to do after that, though, is a good question. And something which has been bandied around quite a lot is Viking Conquest, which I'm very interested in, actually. I mean, you can see by my name, Mordred Viking, that I rather like Viking history. So I'm kind of interested in that, and also someone else mentioned another mod. Crikey, which one was it? It was the Warhammer one, whose name I've totally forgotten now, but that also looks pretty cool, so it'll probably be one of those two. Honestly, leaning more towards Viking Conquest. No promises as yet as to when that will kick off. It really depends on just how much more fuel Pendor has in its tank. So what other single player series was I doing? Total War Warhammer. That has been going pretty well. I'm really excited to get back into that one. I literally have not played it for the last 3 weeks, so I'm going to be extremely rusty when we get going again, but yeah, it should be good. Oh, speaking of, this Mods Report will actually come out 2 days before most of the pre-records are finished. I wanted to give myself a little bit of leeway when I get back to have a bit of coverage, especially as I knew that I would be quite busy over the weekend, so you know, I didn't want to rush stuff. So those next 2 episodes on Saturday and Sunday are pre-recorded, but after that it's all fresh content. So speaking of fresh content, or rather stuff that is finished, the Stellaris single player finished over the break. That was the United Oaths one. I probably won't be doing another Stellaris single player for the time being. I really kind of need to see some more content, particularly in the mid game, otherwise it just drags a little bit. And EU4 single player, also another one that finished. That was the Lord Novgorod the Great. And unfortunately, about a week after I'd actually finished recording it, so while I was away, they changed the rules over Republic, so you don't need to switch to a monarchy before becoming a republic from a merchant republic. So that would have completely changed the way that I did Novgorod, and honestly it would have been way more efficient, because I wouldn't have had to waste time on aristocracy ideas and... Crikey, what was the other one? As soon as I'm put on the spot, I forget the names of stuff. It was the... influence ideas. Of course it was, yes, influence. Except I think I would still have needed to take that for Republic, but I wouldn't have taken aristocratic, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm going to wait for another expansion on EU4 as well, I think. There was actually a dev diary today, which was particularly interesting. It was all about heirs and rulers getting new personalities, and I kind of hinted that some of the big dynasties would get some little tweaks too, so I kind of strongly suspect that will be the Habsburgs. So this might be the opportunity to play as Austria, something which I've considered doing for quite some time, though I'd really wanted to do that in a multiplayer game, honestly. Possibly also some things to the Rokoviches, because they ruled Russia, and probably the Bourbons in France. We'll see. The only one I'm fairly confident will have some stuff is the Habsburgs, just because they are so critical to that time period. So, single player games. That leaves us with 2 single player games going currently, and there is another game which came out while I was away, and I have not really had much of a chance to play with yet, and that is Hearts of Iron 4. I did actually spend 5 hours at the airport just playing away, but that was on my laptop, and it really doesn't have the responsiveness required. So I will likely start playing that in earnest and getting a series up as soon as I'm done recording this video, actually, is what I'm thinking. So you may well get that tomorrow. We'll see. Depends how long it takes to render and upload. So yeah, I've already kind of been playing around with some of the ideas for factions. I was actually playing as Italy in my test game, and I really enjoy Italy actually. They are so much fun. Particularly when I was playing in Hearts of Iron 3, it was through Italy that I really kind of learned the ins and outs of the game. And I played it both on the Axis and the Allies side, so that might be something that we'll do again. Or I might try something a little different. I have some other ideas. We'll see. Ultimately, I really want to try one as the Netherlands, just because, you know, I'm Dutch, and I think it'd be kind of interesting. Likely you'll lose the Dutch heartlands, but you might be able to continue playing with the Indonesian stuff. So basically, your centre of attention will shift from Western Europe to Indonesia and to the South Pacific. That'd be kind of cool. Right, the other big part of this channel, of course, is multiplayer games, and those are going to continue. So first of all, 8-player Stellaris. We will be continuing that stream tomorrow. That is the 18th of June. We're kicking off at 9 in the morning Greenwich Mean Time, which is 4 in the morning Eastern Standard. I'm so sorry about that, but that's just the time that our players could do. That should go on for about 8 hours though, so we're likely to finish around 5 PM Greenwich Mean Time or 12 PM Eastern Standard, so there's plenty of time for you to come and join us, even if the start is a bit early. And yeah, I totally understand that, but I really would appreciate any support that you guys can give. It's always nice to have some people watching on Twitch and on Twitch, not Twitter, on Twitch, so that we can have a bit of interaction and things going on like that. And of course, there is Clash of the Titans, the EU4 game with Bussy and Igel. Vive la France! That is going to continue as soon as we can. I've been trying to schedule a game with them. I was kind of hoping to have a recording session on Tuesday. Don't know yet if that's going to happen. Igel was a little non-committal, so we will see. But that is going to come as soon as possible, I promise you, because that is one of the favourite games I've got going so far. Just the competitiveness and everything like that is fantastic. If you haven't been able to keep up to date with Clash of the Titans, or with Stellaris in fact, the last 2 videos I did in those playlists was a summary of basically everything that's happened up till now, and kind of maybe a little idea of what's going to happen in the future as well. I don't know, it's all speculation. The other game which I might start doing is a multiplayer co-op, well, multiplayer, not necessarily co-op, game of Total War Warhammer. That, yeah, I'm going to have to do a test game with that. I think that will be with Tome, just to see how it fits the YouTube format, because I kind of suspect the turns will take quite a long time. And if there's something going on to engage you guys, then of course I'd be very interested in doing that. It'll probably be with the Empire and Vampire counts, or maybe the Dwarves and the Vampire counts. Yeah, so that might be happening. It really depends on how it plays. We'll see. But I would obviously like to do that. The other possible multiplayer game would be Hearts of Iron, if I can rope any of my friends into playing that as well. I think, like in the past, I played a game called Making History, which was another World War II strategy game, and that was one of the most fun multiplayer games I've ever played, just because there is constant action, interaction and stuff, and constant pressure really does make that very, very interesting indeed. So we'll see about that. We'll see. Then finally, and because I know some of you will be waiting for this, subscriber Stellaris, which will be on Sunday the 19th of June. We're going to kick that off at 7 PM Greenwich Mean Time, which is 2 PM Eastern Standard. So hopefully that's a little more US friendly times to the 8-player Stellaris. And this subscriber Stellaris is going to be open to everyone. It's just going to be an open game. We're basically just going to start playing. You can hot join in whenever you want, you can leave whenever you want, and we'll just take it from there. This does mean it'll be a little more tricky choosing what nations you are, because if you're not there from the start, you can't get a custom nation. I'm sorry, it's just not the way it works. So you will have to play a random faction. That should be fine. I mean, they're all pretty good anyway. What do I want to say about that? That's probably going to go on for about 5 hours, so you can join us basically anytime between 7 PM Greenwich Mean Time and 12 AM Greenwich Mean Time, so 2 PM Eastern Standard to 7 PM Eastern Standard. and that would be really, really cool if you could join us. If you do want to get a custom game in there, by the way, then please do try and join us about half an hour early, just so we can make sure that we get any technical issues and stuff sorted out before we actually go live. This will be streamed, so anyone who doesn't have the game can tune in and watch. That'll be on twitch.tv/MordredViking, and probably won't go up on YouTube simply because I have so much going on the channel already as it is. But it is a lot of fun. I really have been waiting a long time to play a game with you guys. We haven't had much luck with the Mount and Blade stuff, except for 1 or 2 short sessions, but quite a few have expressed interest in the subscriber Stellaris, so I'm definitely willing to give that a shot. And I'm actually kind of excited about it, if I'm quite honest. It'll be interesting just to see how hard you guys pick on me, because yeah, you know what's going to happen. But I think that is it for this update. I'm just scanning through my notes here. Yeah, I think that's about it. So basically, series on this channel, single player will be Prophecy of Pendor, Total War Warhammer Empire Strikes Back, and this new Hearts of Iron 4 series that's going to be coming out. Multiplayer, we have Clash of the Titans, EU4 game, Stellaris, War of the Worlds, 8-player game, and possibly the Total War Warhammer game, possibly a Hearts of Iron 4 game. We'll see. Plus, of course, the Twitch stream on Sunday, and that should be a fairly regular occurrence from now, at least for the next 3 or so weeks. Reason for that is I'm again going to be busy for another 3 weeks stretch of time, so I'm going to have to be doing a bunch of pre-recording, unfortunately. I hate doing it this way, but, you know, real life, unfortunately, has to come first. But after that, I'm basically free for the next, 10 months or something, so things should be a little more flexible and easy. And I can revert back to my usual standard of recording things only a day or 2 in advance, so that I can actually interact with you guys more in the comments. I mean, really, that is the part of this job that I find the most interesting, is talking to you guys, getting the tips, getting the advice, getting the critiques. Even when you yell at me saying you're an idiot, Mordred, you know, I get a kick out of that. So don't try and kick me too hard, please. Anyway, I think that's it for now, so I will catch you next time. Goodbye.